It is beginning. We're live.
We need like a red zone type of intro music.
Yeah. The 5 minute countdown. Oh, that gets me
It's the
jazzed.
Oh
fun.
my
Oh
god.
my god, yes. I want a smooth jazz intro.
The fucking first week of football, when that red zone music starts playing, the 5 minute ticker starts going down. You're just sitting there rubbing one out real quick before the games.
I don't
That
even
is.
need. I don't. Need, I don't even need hands.
I'm glad that this recording is saved so everyone can hear that forever.
Yeah. I'm glad it's saved too. Now
All
they
right.
all know
All right.
how jacked I get. Literally jacked.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Week 4. Some crazy stuff is already going down. Let's go over some of the inactives. Field Yates coming out as soon as I say that with the classic list. We got Terry McLaurin is inactive. Julian Edelman is active. T.Y. Hilton's out. Gordon in. Mark Andrews in. Devin Singletary is out. Matthew Stafford in. Danny Amendola's out. Rex Burkhead's in. Albert Wilson is out. Darius Slay is out. Fire
Yo,
up
let's
your
go!
Sammy Watkins.
That's interesting.
That is a huge deal for me for Sammy Watkins because now I feel a lot more confident in playing him. All right, so today the slate is like we always do. We're gonna give you 4 kind of matchups. Do you start them talks? We're gonna highlight 4 games, and then we're going to tell you who should score the most points out of a pool of 3 to 4 players. I'm gonna start keeping track of those. I think this week I might come out with a little episode highlighting who we've gone right and who we've gone wrong so far, and I think that'll be kind of fun. But anyway, let's start it. Darrell Williams, he's the first guy I saw a lot of people asking, do I start Darrell Williams over X, Y, and Z? Maybe we can go through some players, but what is going on?
Yeah. It sounded
What a
like
sneeze.
Link or something like that when he's doing like his,
Oh my
forward.
God.
Yeah,
did.
she was slaying one of those. My girlfriend was slaying one of those Minecraft zombies that you see
Oh yeah.
when you dig too far. Yeah, sorry.
Oh my God. All
Don't
right.
dig straight down.
Oh my God, I literally just lost one of my characters because of that. Anyway, Darrell Williams. Where's your guys' meter on him? I think if you guys listen to DFS show, I'm really high on Darrell Williams this week. I think he outscores McCoy. I'm putting him in basically the one team I have him. Are you guys starting him on your rosters?
I think you could start him. I'd be a little bit nervous because I feel like this game could possibly be just a major shootout. And that's going to lead a little bit more towards they still haven't run the ball like very much or hardly at all in all of these games. They've been passing at like almost 70% or something like that. I think it's mid 60s. And that's I mean it's gonna work. I think still. I think he'll still get, in the teens of points. I don't expect like something crazy. I guess he could get a couple touchdowns to boost his numbers, but I just don't see him going completely off.
Well, my thing is if you're expecting a shootout, I'd be more excited about Darrell Williams because he, I think, how many targets did McCoy get last week? McCoy got 3 targets. He was on the field for 35% of snaps, but Darrell Williams was on the field for 55 and got 5 targets. I think like McCoy only really is going to get a catch if they're trying to throw off the defense, but when there is a shootout and it's an obvious passing situation, Darrell Williams is in there. They're designing plays for him now, it seems like, but
Yeah.
I mean, we have the sample size of like half a game.
Yeah.
Whoa. One game. It was a full game.
Yeah.
He was the starter. Tony, how do you feel about Darrell Williams?
This week, I think he's safer than AJ and Kramer. I think.
Yeah.
I get the concerns, but I mean, even when it was the other Williams in there, they were still splitting time with McCoy. I think McCoy is just really locked into
You
that
doing it now?
ground game role.
Yeah, I think the problem I'm having is that the defensive line of the Lions is actually okay-ish. Or it's supposed to be okay-ish. They've been doing okay against the run. Who did they play last week? They played
Philly.
Philly.
Philadelphia.
Philly didn't do very much, and then I think the week before they played the Chargers.
Yeah, they played Chargers in Arizona.
I don't think any of them have really done too well on the ground. Maybe the Chargers, but I know
So-
David Johnson scored okay week 1, but that was because of a touchdown.
Eckler played pretty well. He just had the fumbles. He played really well in the pass game too, which is why I would be excited about Darrell Williams.
Yeah, it's definitely. I wouldn't be excited about Darrell Williams like rushing, but receiving would be a different situation because I'm not sure. I don't even know who the Lions linebackers are. So
So Darrell.
Yeah, I think that's where they're easy to be exploited is their pass catching running backs more.
yeah,
Well, I think it's all over the field today. I think they're gonna get.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be so open deep every single time that it could just be 40 yards TDs, just like
Yeah, I don't.
Patrick Mahomes games.
Yeah, Mahomes definitely does not discriminate against any player. He's been spreading the ball around all season. But I mean, you can always project for about 9 to 10 targets for the running backs, whoever is lined up in the backfield on a given play, or a given amount of snaps for Kansas City. So I think Darrell Williams, I wouldn't consider him like a lottery play. I don't think he's going to explode. I wouldn't say he has a high ceiling, but there is one season-long lineup where I am starting him over Sony Michel this week, and I have another where I'm considering flexing him over Stephon Diggs. So
Yeah.
just because I think that he has, if you can get a Chiefs running back on the field for 50% of the game, I mean that's a pretty nice floor.
I completely agree. I would start him over McCoy. Actually, I would start him over Devontae Freeman.
Over McCoy.
Yeah, I would start him over McCoy.
I like the boldness from you, but I don't think I align with that. But I like
McCoy,
it. I like your confidence.
I think it really is. Maybe it is an overreaction, but right now McCoy seems more TD dependent than Williams will in this game. Like if you look at what happened last game, like if McCoy doesn't get the TDs, Darrell Williams is a way better play. And
I just think it's hard to project a lot about any Kansas City piece other than Kelsey and Mahomes
okay, fair enough.
given week, But I mean, you can. Yeah, I mean, if you think that you're going to see what we saw last week, then definitely.
All right, AJ, your mic's being a little robotic and cutting out. I think it might be your connection. One more person out today that I've seen highlight is Dante Hightower. So obviously you're going to start up your Frank Gores. Just kidding. Don't play Frank Gore unless you're playing a millionaire maker in which you really believe in that old fart. Moving on, we got Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore. Now, I really like, speaking of DFS, I really like Curtis Samuel this week in DFS. But in my season-long lineups where I probably have other wide receiver threes and stuff, it's a little bit harder to put them in there. I'm putting them in there over one Terry McLaurin because Terry McLaurin is again out, and that's quite a big deal for everybody to hear. What's your confidence with Kyle, the guy who outplayed Kyler Murray, Allen, and that whole wide receiving core against a Houston defense that I think every week we say isn't that good, and then they end up winning the game, but then if you actually watch the game, the defense really is not good. Like, they're getting lucky.
I couldn't catch a lot of that because I think we had
Discord's
a
freaking out. right now.
robot filter voice over us for like the last minute. But,
All right, I will summarize.
but when it
Curtis
gets
Samuel.
into Curtis Samuel versus DJ Moore,
Yes,
recency bias tells us that Curtis Samuel got more targets than Moore with Allen on the field. I think both of these guys. So if you look at these guys compared to like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Thus far, it looks like if Godwin explodes, Evan is silent, and vice versa. I think with Samuel and DJ Moore, it's a little more median and a little more like they share the load a little bit. But I think I would still go with Curtis Samuel here, just because, I mean, when you're looking at targets, and it's a one game sample size, I'm going to follow those targets as opposed to following the touchdown from DJ Moore. But they're both in pretty good spots against the Texans today.
All right, Kramer,
Yeah.
Tony.
Yeah, I like I like both of them this week. I think both are really solid plays, especially with Allen at quarterback again. But I agree with AJ that it seems more like they both are pretty safe plays with like floor wise, but I think DJ Moore is the one who has the way higher upside than Curtis Samuel. I think Curtis Samuel's probably the safer pick. I mean, if DJ Moore doesn't get that long touchdown, he has a really bad week last week. So,
But so do you? For me, it's actually I feel like Curtis has the floor and the ceiling. Like I mean DJ Moore definitely has a ceiling there, but with the amount of targets, the target differential with Kyle Allen, and again that's a 1 game sample size. I would feel a lot more comfortable putting Curtis Samuel in if I want the ceiling or the floor.
I don't know. I think we'll have to see more games to get a better idea of the targets because it was just 1 week.
It's true.
I still think once Kyle Allen gets a little bit more practice in there too, you'll start seeing DJ Moore get more targets.
So none of us are worried about Kyle Allen, right? And the fact that that may
No.
have been a
I
fluke.
am a little bit.
Kramer's like,
Gonna be the rational
hiding in
one.
the bushes and then come out. Yeah, I don't know. I just generally with these, it seems like everyone's kind of all in on all these rookie quarterbacks now, and it's like, okay, we saw 1 week. Remember what happened to everyone was super in on Baker Mayfield after last year. It's like I feel like we don't know really what's going to happen. He also played Arizona, which is like the easiest fucking matchup ever. And not that Houston is like a bad matchup, but at least there's like a name on the defensive line you have to think about that might get in his head with big old JJ Watt, Mr. Fort Minor himself. Yeah, I mean like the problem with this game is I could see just Christian McCaffrey carrying the entire load the entire game and then no one else really doing anything. But I think the Texans will come out in this game and take a lead and take a pretty big lead quick, and then he's going to have to be throwing it. But I don't like the idea of him being pressured to throw it.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's understandable.
Yeah, and JJ Watt getting to pin his ears back and just get after it.
Pin his ears back.
Part of it, I mean, I do agree. Arizona's so bad. I don't imagine Kyle Allen is as successful against Houston, but that the Panthers team is nice and it's very Minnesota Vikings like, where you have 2 wide receivers on the team, you have 1 tight end, and you have 1 running back who's getting the football. Everything's very predictive. So as long as Kyle Allen can somewhat distribute the ball, you're gonna be okay. And it's the same thing where it's like a lot of us don't have a ton of faith in Kirk Cousins in a lot of matchups, but we'll still play Thielen, Diggs, Cook a lot of the time because, I mean, those we know they're getting the ball, and in fantasy, that's like 95% of it is getting the ball, unless your name is Dante Moncrief or Mike Davis. So, moving on. Emmanuel Sanders and Cortland Sutton. Jalen Ramsey being out changes a lot for me. I still am not super confident speaking of quarterbacks and Joe Flacco up against the Jacksonville defense.
Yeah.
But if they have to pass the ball at all, it's going to go to those 2 guys. And they're both great wide receivers, in my opinion, from what I've seen so far this season.
Psych, this is Deshaun Hamilton's game.
No. Are you serious? Okay.
No.
Okay, thank God. Are you playing Sanders in any of your season long at all? Or Cortland Sutton? I have Sanders in 1 lineup, but it's kind of a desperation play because I'm still not that confident even without Jalen there.
No, I mean I have Sanders in a couple leagues. Like for example, I'm playing DJ Moore, but that means just have better options or people I'm more confident in. I don't know, the Broncos, Joe Flacco. that defense, just everything about the Broncos this year is ugly.
Yeah, this game has 14-7 written all over
Yeah.
it.
14-7, 6-3.
Yeah. In overtime.
You guys don't think Minshew's got the
The magic
got the
mustache.
stones
Well, that's
to
actually
sling that shit?
Denver's defense has been so weird.
I know,
It's
but I
been
feel like
not
this is when they
weird, it's been
finally put it
bad.
together against
Yeah,
a rookie.
I don't feel comfortable betting against the Denver defense, even though their pressure rates have been so down. Just because to me that just seems like an absolute anomaly. I don't have I don't know why Bradley Chubb and is Von Miller still there? Like
Yeah.
why
Yes.
those guys are not getting pressure on the
He needs to
quarterbacks
get his
when they
prescription checked.
it's just strange to me, and at this point I'm not just going to come out and say, oh yeah, Denver sucks at getting pressure, because like there could be the week where, hey, I think this is going to be like okay, I need to see it to believe it week, and if it's another week of Denver not getting any
Done chain.
pressure on a quarterback, then yeah, exactly, done chain them. Now we can target them as somebody that maybe is a good matchup for quarterbacks.
It's maybe the most inexplicable thing that's ever happened, in my opinion, with a coaching change, where you take Vic Fangio, a guy that I've
Right.
never seen him not be successful in dialing up pressure or figuring out how to get pressure with guys who are horrible. And
And now he
then,
has two good defensive ends.
well, the thing is, the two times he's had good defensive players in the 49ers and Chicago last year, it's just like their defenses were incredible. So I was expecting that from Denver. I mean, their defense, the only thing I can think of is the middle linebacking core isn't what he wants. Maybe they haven't been performing. I would have to look a lot more into them, but there's something there not going right, and maybe they'll click against a horrible Jacksonville team. Last, Seattle's backfield. I haven't seen anything about Rashad Penny. I guess I'll go to my resident Seattle Seahawks / LA Rams fanboy. Oh, is Rashad Penny like healthy now? I really am a little
I don't-
confused.
I don't think he's 100%, which makes it. I'm going to be talking about this in our matchup preview. But if he was 100%, it would be very interesting going into this game to see what happens with the carries because of Carson's fumbling issues. I still think Carson is going to get probably because I think Penny's still not fully healthy. I think Carson's still going to get 70% of the touches, and it's only going to be a 25% for Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
So, but I have to start him in Dynasty because I have no other option.
I saw that, so I'm hoping he's not healthy. CJ Procise time.
Oh God!
So how confident do you
Frail
guys,
as hell.
just talking about Chris Carson, do you guys feel confident playing him this week? I feel like for most people it's, yeah, I'm going to play him, but I'm not excited.
I feel like Pete Carroll's the type of guy to play him and make him be like, yeah, he's our guy this week, and then next week he's just like, fuck it, Rashad Penny, go full bore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Carson's a fine play this week. It's just, I don't see any threats really. Coming off a hamstring injury, that's always problematic for Rashad Penny. So I don't think they could give him the workload they'd want to give him if Carson fumbles again. But next week he'll probably be gone if that happens.
All right. Good analysis. We have our first start-sit question from YouTube. Danny asks, Mecole Hardman or Josh Jacobs? We might disagree about this. It depends, again, on your lineup and how many points you need. If you want to shoot your shot for the 30-point game, I may go Hardman, but I really like Josh Jacobs this week. I think he has a very high floor, and I think his ceiling is actually pretty high, especially for running back in Oakland.
The Oakland's played Chargers, right?
No, they
Or
play
no. The Colts.
Colts.
who
Yeah.
have been horrible against the run. Just
Is Darius Leonard still out?
yes, Leonard's
believe
out,
so,
Malik
yeah.
Hooker is out, and one of their starting corners, if I'm not mistaken, is
Jesus.
out.
Well, that's their two best players.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
yeah, I would probably lean Josh Jacobs if I want the safety because I feel like he's going to have a good game. But if I want to if I'm projected down, a decent amount and I need to make up some space, Hardman could totally have 40 points this game.
It,
Watch
He
this just be
could.
the slowest game all week, and no one scores any points in this Detroit Chiefs game. Like that
Miko,
would be insane.
Miko Hardman 100% has the 0 to 40 range, but I'm actually really excited about Josh Jacobs' ceiling in this game. If he gets
Yeah.
touchdowns, I think he could get 100 on the ground, 50 in the air, and a couple touchdowns very easily.
Yeah, I really like Jacobs this week.
Damn it! I should have traded for him before this week.
I tried to. People didn't want to trade him, mainly because
No one
Tony has
wants
him
to
in every
trade him.
fucking league I play with. AJ, go. Any comments about the Josh Jacobs? So I just
No, you've been pretty headstrong about Jacobs this whole week, and thinking that he was in a good spot. And those key pieces for the Colts defense definitely bode well for Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I think I would play him over Hardman. I think Hardman's a bit risky. He's pretty much boom or bust right now with the type of routes that he runs and the lack of targets that he gets in the game. And I think that this Kansas City Detroit game is leaning more and more towards a blowout because of this news that Stafford's in so much pain. And, I think that this can get away from the lines fairly quickly. So that doesn't bode well for the Chiefs needing to just go bananas, in my opinion.
All right, so we're going to get into our highlighted matchup. Sorry, it sounded like someone just threw my dishwasher on the ground. That was weird.
Through a dishwasher, they must
Yeah.
be pretty fucking strong.
No, it sounded like the entire dishwasher just fell off a table. I don't know how that happened. I'm gonna go first for the highlights, even though my name's last on the docket, because I host this and I can do whatever the hell I want. It's great.
Damn.
Yeah, man. You're the
Um,
boss, dude.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers in Miami, and the reason I'm gonna highlight this for you guys is one, Keenan Allen. I was talking on the DFS show, and maybe before the DFS show, that if I could take a prop bet that Keenan Allen gets the most targets in NFL history in this game, I would take it. Obviously, not because I think it's probable, but because I think it's higher than the odds I would be given. The wide receiver 2 for the Chargers currently is Dontrell Inman. The starting tight end for the Chargers is Lance Kendricks.
Lance Kendricks.
They have no options. Travis Benjamin's hurt. Mike Williams hurt. Hunter Henry's hurt. Virgil Green is hurt. It's Austin Eckler, Melvin Gordon, Keenan Allen are the offensive weapons against the Dolphins. Now, where this target bet comes in is I think with this team traveling to Miami, even though Miami's trying to lose, they keep it just close enough that Philip Rivers keeps just throwing the ball at Keenan Allen literally no matter what. One guy to highlight on Miami's team that I would personally take a shot on in DFS, I would take a shot on if you have him in a dynasty league where you have some injuries, is Preston Williams. You look at him, and honestly, he's averaging 10 points a game. It looks like he has a pretty solid floor so far, but his targets every single week has gone up. Josh Rosen, honestly, in my opinion, has looked really good so far. His wide receivers just have been dropping the ball. Now, Preston Williams did not have a good reception to target ratio last game, and that was mainly because, if I'm not mistaken, in the fourth quarter, he got like 5 bombs thrown at him, in which he had no chance at them, and that was mainly because they were down by so much and they're just throwing the freaking ball wherever. However, he gets quality targets when they're in the game, which means the first 2 minutes of the game. And I don't know. He's just a guy nobody's thinking about. He was good at Colorado State. Josh Rosen looks better than I think. Everybody else on Miami, don't even think about it. Devontae Parker, he had one amazing catch last week, but he continued with his just shittiness of a wide receiver. Kalen Ballage, Kenyon Drake look freaking horrendous. I don't know what. I mean, again, Miami's a weird thing going on right now. This is the first time I think we've seen in NFL history a team just not give a fuck if everybody knows they're tanking and they're selling everybody. Obviously, starting Austin Eckler. I think if you're in a pinch, I really do, and you want to take a shot, go ahead and start Melvin Gordon in the flex. If you're projected really low and you don't have a good person to play there, he might get a couple touchdowns. Again, they don't have a lot of offensive weapons this week. It's mainly going to be the Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler show, And if Miami stays in this game, you could be looking at the two highest scoring players at their position in Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen. That's my rant. We're gonna move on to Kramer in Seattle, Arizona. Or are we? We're gonna move on to Tony in Indianapolis, Oakland, and when Kramer comes back, he can talk.
So I really like this matchup for for the main reason being that I think both teams' defenses are going to be pretty bad this week. It's definitely going to be one of those games where I think as long as you're starting one of the decently, like if you have a player on your roster from either of these teams that's not a Indianapolis wide receiver, because I think is T.Y. Hilton out? I'm pretty sure he's out this week.
Yep, he got ruled out.
Yeah, so I don't know who's going to get the ball. I was looking at the targets at the wide receivers for the Colts. I think T.Y. Hilton has 25, and the next wide receiver has like 6 on the season. So, and everybody pretty much got 3 targets last week when T.Y. Hilton was out. So I mean, if anybody's going to benefit from him being out, it's probably going to be Eric Ebron and Jack Doyle, who both have 7 receptions on the year. But I really like Marlon Mack this week because I think they're going to just have to lean on him a lot more. I'm not too worried about Oakland's defense trying to stop him. I really like pretty much every single player on Oakland's side. Darren Waller could have a huge game again with Hooker and Leonard out. Then same thing goes with Josh Jacobs. We already touched on that. I think the only person I'd be slightly concerned about would be Tyrell Williams just because of the target share, but the cornerback's out too, so he's probably going to have a huge. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be one of those games where there's a lot of points to be had.
100%. I agree with you there. I really agree, especially at the running back position. I think you have 2 defenses here who just can't stop the run, and
Yeah,
it's not going to be. I mean, obviously that always leads to slightly slower pace, but I think it's going to be so many chunk plays for both of these guys that you'll get an. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm really excited to watch this game.
yeah, I think both. It's going to be one of those games where each team breaks 100 yards rushing just with their main running.
Yeah. AJ, since I still don't know if Kramer's here, why don't we go to you with
Yeah.
Tampa Bay and the Rams? And sorry, I just puked a little in my mouth. I don't know.
Oh, cute. Yeah. So this game, like Matt just alluded to, it wasn't because he had any bad food last night. This game does look pretty ugly on paper, but there are some things that I am taking away that I just feel more sure about this week than like almost any other game in fantasy on the slate today. So some of my key takeaways here are I think the LA Rams defense is a slam fucking dunk today. I think Jameis Winston is at risk for getting sacked. He's at risk for turning the ball over. Just the things that the LA Rams are doing this year well are they just seem like Jameis's kryptonite. They're getting pressure on the quarterback, and their cornerbacks are holding it down too. So if they can lock down, I mean, it's hard to lock down both Godwin or Evans. I think we're going to see like all one, none of the other today. But even if we see all of one, I wouldn't expect anything near a 20 or 20 point game, to be honest. I think that this is going to be a smackdown. So that's something that I'm locking in is the LA Rams defense. Now, on the other side of the ball for the Rams, I think that all 3 pass catchers, Cooks, Kupp, and Woods, can all eclipse 10 points today. One of them obviously is going to explode. I feel confident in Goff just going bananas today. I think this is not necessarily his get right for the rest of the year because I think there are a lot of question marks on the Rams side. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are essentially a pass funnel in that they have been shutting down the run this year, which, you know, good for you, but how are you going to stop the most effective play in a pass, which they haven't been able to do at all. So I wouldn't expect a lot for Gurley this week at all. I wouldn't expect a lot for Malcolm Brown outside of like a 30-yard game and maybe 2 touchdowns if you're really lucky. I'm expecting a lot out of Goff. I think he's going to have an awesome game. And all 3 of his pass catchers are absolutely in play for 10 or more points. And I think this is a game where Woods gets back on track and he gets back to his vintage self that we've seen the last 2 years.
No, I agree. when Goff is at home, it used to be I didn't believe in this stat, especially with Goff, but I think it has to do partly with them being a West Coast team. He's just so much better at home. He's like straight up a different player, and I'd be curious if I went back to his Cal days if that was also the same thing, if it's just a mental thing for him, or maybe it's physical because of the West Coast. But regardless, Kramer, are you finally here? Still can't hear him.
He's thinking really hard
Oh.
about the matchup. Is what.
Did I hear for a second?
No.
No, we didn't. I wish I had a little technical difficulties sign here. Let's see what's going on, chat. He says, I could just transcript as he writes it all out. My shit say it all be working. Some of the most beautiful English I've ever seen, actually. While Kramer thinks about that, I will highlight all the inactives from Pro Football Talk. Just give you a quick rundown. There is a lot. As you can see, Taekwon Lewis for the Colts is also out, who is a defensive tackle. So, please play Josh Jacobs. Patriots, just Dante Hightower is worth noting. The Bills, Croft is out. So if you want to play Knox, I guess you can if you're in a 16-team league. Devin Singletary, again, out, kind of a big deal. Titans, not too many things of note, neither on the Falcons side. Browns, Ravens, the Browns' whole secondary is still out. So Marquise Brown, not a bad play. Ravens, Jimmy Smith is out, so maybe an Odell play this week if you believe that Baker can come back. Chiefs, Tyreek Hill still out, Damian Williams, Eric Fisher, all still out. Those are some big names for the Chiefs. And then for the Lions, as we said, Mike Daniels, Darius Slay, Deshaun Hand. Man, their defense is decimated. Yeah, the Chiefs might score 40 and this not be a game. Really quickly.
Yeah, I'm really scared about that. Also, that D tackle out for the Colts, I think definitely, like you just said, I mean, that strengthens Josh Jacobs' case, and he's not going to be played. Like, he's really not. I'm not pounding the drum, but I am though. I like your point a lot.
Go
about
buy
Jacobs.
me an Amazon drum kit so I can drum it.
Doof, doof. That would be a hell of a call, man.
Hey, if I win somebody like $2,000, you're obligated to at least subscribe to us. Maybe give us like $10.
Yeah, give us promo.
Panthers at Texans. Cam is obviously out. Trey Turner is out. Dante Jackson, we talked about the speedy corners out. So that's why I feel okay with pivoting to Will Fuller from Terry McLaurin in a lot of DFS and maybe in your real lineup. Season long, that is. Texans, nothing really of note. Chargers, Dolphins. Michael Badgley is still out, but Hunter Henry, Mike Williams, Virgil Green, Justin Jackson, Travis Benjamin. There is no offensive weapons for Riverside's Keenan Allen. As Tony put in our chat, Keenan Allen only needs 14 catches to set an NFL record for the first 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm smashing the over on the 14 catches. Dolphins side, who cares who's out, honestly. Washington Giants. Jordan Reed, Tarek McLaurin, Brandon Sheriff, all out. I'm not playing anybody on Washington. I'm not pivoting from Terry McLaurin to like Paul Richardson or something. And then the Giants, Saquon Barkley's out, Alex Ogletree is out, which is a big deal for the Giants defense. But I
Chris
mean,
Thompson could be the pass catcher to.
I do have Chris Thompson in one lineup, and that's kind of a lineup
Yeah.
where I was taking a huge shot. But it might come out, especially Alex Ogletree is a huge part of that Giants defense this year. I mean, it seems like every commentator is really hating on it from the practices they've seen and what they've talked with. So, him being out of the game is worrisome for that defense. Kramer, can we finally hear you? Yeah, guys, hello.
Yeah, that's how he sounds. No, but I think I like Chris Thompson a lot today. I think he's a 10 point guy. You know, that's somebody that can get you that Keenum seems to enjoy targeting him, and I think that this game is going to be close to where they can't just give old man AP the rock every time.
Oh shit, am I back?
Oh my god. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
let's go.
Seattle, Arizona. Here we go. For you guys, what
All
you've all been
right.
waiting for.
I've been waiting. What I've been waiting for is I've been watching. I looked up the most receptions in a game. It was 21 by Brandon Marshall. Couldn't find
Yep.
most targets in a
No,
game.
that's the most targets in a game. From what my
No, that's most
research.
receptions.
Are you
21. Yeah. Keenan Allen is on the list at number 15 at 15 receptions. So waited a long time to say that. I don't know why my show wasn't working. Anyways, Seahawks, Arizona. The over under is 47. Seattle is -4. If we look at the matchups, I think the biggest matchups that we're gonna have to that are gonna determine what's going on here is obviously we have the backfield situation where I think if Penny was fully healthy, I think he'd be getting probably at least 60% of the carries today, but he's not. So Carson's going to be out there. I think he's probably going to be more like 75% of the carries. I think he's an easy start against this Arizona defense. Big things to look at are going to be Seattle's pass rush against the Arizona offensive line. The Arizona's offensive line has been awful, and Seattle has Jadeveon Clowney back or playing right now, and he's been looking like an absolute beast. And then Ziggy Ansah's back as our other defensive end now. So I think they're going to be getting a lot of pressure on Kyler, which might force him to make a couple mistakes. I still think you can start Kyler today with confidence. I would probably put him in the top 10 easily for quarterbacks. And then also how Kyler Murray's in the
Oh no. Kramer cut out.
How Kyler Murray's what? What is he?
Oh man. The world may never know. I did do some quick little research. Brandon Marshall had 28 targets in that 21 reception game. So I'm just going to say for all intents and purposes it's probably around 28 or 30 targets in a game. Keenan Allen got 40.
He got
Am I back?
28 targets in that
Kramer's
game,
back
dude?
again. Quick, what was Kyler Murray?
a top 10 quarterback this week.
Oh shit.
But I think that our defense has been really bad against the pass and just bad overall, basically. We've been okay against the run, but Alvin Kamara is a freak. I don't think David Johnson's going to do the same shit. So I'm just going to go through this really quickly now because apparently my fucking chat's falling out every 2 seconds. So I'm not sure why. Russell Wilson, definitely fucking start him. Obviously, he's been killing it recently. Kyler Murray, start him. Chris Carson, start him. Rashad Penny, definitely fade. Go somewhere else. David Johnson, I'd play him too. He's probably going to have a decent amount of receptions because the Seahawks are pretty bad at covering the backs out of the backfield. See last week with Alvin Kamara. I think Tyler Lockett is locked and loaded, going to just blow up today, probably like 30 points.
Oh, so
DK
excited about it.
Metcalf's probably going to have a big game too. I mean, Arizona's cornerback core is absolutely decimated too.
Talk about Will Disley.
Oh, I'm getting there, boy. Larry Fitz. I think like basically all the names you could think of in this game, you'd start. Charles Clay, I guess, is the tight end for Arizona. Don't have to worry about that. But Will Disley, every single fucking tight end has gone off against Arizona. And Russ has been looking to Will Disley almost every time in the red zone. I mean, it seems like one of those games where he's probably only going to have like 60 yards, but he's going to have like 2 or 3 TDs in my eyes. Because I think Tyler Lockett's going to be taking up all the yards. Just going to be that yardage monster gobbling up them yards. And then Disley's just going to come in and snake them TDs. And just remember, I was basically exactly right with my preview last week where I thought it was going to be a shitty game for the Seahawks. Just seemed like it.
Very.
This one, I think the Seahawks are going to win pretty handily, though. By like 14.
So, fun fact, Will Disley was the 2013 High School Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Montana. Shout out to the fantasy footballers.
Played at UW, baby.
I gave AJ I played bookie this week and gave him plus 170 odds that Austin Hooper outscores Will Disley, and he took him.
Oh, you're insane.
Yeah, I would not make a good real bookie, but I'm very confident.
Will Disley's gonna score a fuck ton.
So moving on, which player has the better week? Sponsored by. This is where your sponsor would come in if we had any views. All right, number one, we're gonna start with the quarterbacks. We're gonna start with a pair of youngsters and a seasoned vet. Who has a better week? Danny Dimes, Kyle Allen, or Matt Ryan? Just to highlight who they are playing. Atlanta is playing. I can't remember. I'm
Tennessee.
stalling.
Titans.
Tennessee. And Kyle Allen's playing Houston. Danny Dimes is going up against Washington. So, with that said, I'm going to take the team who's playing the worst defense. I'm going with Danny Dimes. I think he scores a ton of points against Washington, and that's partly because I don't believe in Wayne Gallman. So, Daniel Jones is going to be the running back as well as a QB, which bodes well.
I don't trust any of them, really. I don't
Oh,
like
man,
these
you
options.
guys.
Wow.
The option is right in front of your
Yeah.
face.
Who?
It's
Matt
gotta
Ryan?
be Danny Dimes, dude. They
Oh.
made Mitch Trubisky look good last week. Come on.
Oh, true. Daniel Jones
gosh.
is just a better Mitch Trubisky. Like, can we
You
all agree
guys.
on that? Shout out.
You
Hunt.
guys. It's Matt Ryan.
Ugh.
Are
He's
you
playing the
kidding me?
Titans, though. The
So
Titans have the
what? The
orb
Tit-
of confusion.
The Titans have Malcolm Butler against Julio Jones. Are you kidding me? You want to talk about who's
Malcolm Butler's been getting roasted every single week. Have you watched his
Yeah.
game film?
I mean, so he's getting roasted. Are you worried about Julio Jones then?
No.
Or-
He's saying that Matt Ryan is a good quarterback play. So, like, therefore, Malcolm Butler being bad is helpful towards his argument, Kramer.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know what I was doing there.
Well, thank you
Just
for
trying to
helping make
argue.
my point. Malcolm Butler's trash, bro.
He was gonna
This
be
is-
my
this is-
choice too. So
This is Matt Ryan. Yeah, Matt Ryan was your choice.
yeah, I just don't like
Oh,
any of them.
Okay. I like Matt Ryan. I
Ark.
will go out on a limb and say I like him.
All right.
I
so
like
Kramer,
him, but not
put
in this
your
matchup.
choice. You gotta put
My
something.
choice is Matt Ryan, but
Okay.
I just feel like all these guys are gonna end up outside the top 12, maybe top 15.
All right. John Sweats asked us, do I start Emmanuel Sanders, Tyrell Williams, or Tyler Boyd full PPR? That is a great question. That's one of the harder questions I think we've gotten because I don't know. That's
I think you go
I like
Tyler
Boyd,
Boyd. Yeah,
especially in full PPR.
full
against the Steelers. The Steelers defense was scary looking last week, though.
I'm gonna let you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, AJ.
So Tyler Boyd is a pretty good play this week. I think that although the Steelers defense did look good, I wouldn't play Dalton by any means, and I think that you can still play the Steelers defense, but against slot receivers, the Steelers have no idea. They haven't wrapped their head around that fucking concept yet. They continue to just be abysmal at covering slot receivers. I would go
It's
Boyd.
primetime Dalton, though.
I know, dude. I know, but Boyd will get fed. It's in Pittsburgh. It's where he's from. I would go Boyd, then I would go Williams, and then I would go Sanders.
So I'm gonna pivot from you guys here, and I'm gonna go Tyrell Williams. Originally, I was gonna say Tyler Boyd's probably the safest play, but I'd go Tyrell. But I think Tyrell actually is the safest play with that game against Indianapolis. If I scroll over and
no
look
Malik
at
Hooker.
Tyrell Williams, last week was the first week he didn't get a lot of targets, and that was mainly because Minnesota shut him off, and they made them throw the ball to Darren Waller for 5 yards for 15 straight plays in the second half. But no Malik Hooker. They're going to get no pressure on Derek Carr. Really, it's him and Hunter Renfrow and Waller when it comes to pass catchers. J.J. Nelson really hasn't done anything. And I think Gruden actually really likes Tyrell Williams, and he's really designed quite a few plays that are meant to get him open, whether they be bootlegs where he has a really good route, or it's shots down the field where it's like we're taking a shot towards Tyrell. I would personally play Tyrell, but I don't think it's a bad idea to listen to these guys and go Tyler Boyd. Emmanuel Sanders definitely, I think, has a large range of outcomes this week, and I don't want to say he's going to have a bad week for sure, but realistically, I would go, it's probably between Boyd and Williams, and you can't really go wrong with either, but You could take the majority and go Tyler Boyd, or you can take the guy who went 9-0 in fantasy last week and 5-0 in DFS and take Tyrell Williams.
Well, I'm just gonna say, Tyler Boyd is leading or is third in the league right now with targets at 33.
Oh yeah, no, he's getting targeted. a shit ton.
So I mean, that's a pretty safe floor, even against a good Steelers defense. There is a world where I could see Emmanuel Sanders doing well and getting
Oh,
over
yeah.
20 points, but there's also the world where I could see him getting 5. So like, if I have a iffy matchup, I probably wouldn't play him. And then Tyrell Williams, I think, is a good play too, but I just think Tyler Boyd's just got the safest floor.
All right, we're moving on, guys. We're going to the running backs: Mark Ingram, Dalvin Cook, or Josh Jacobs. I put this up here because I'm very curious at what your guys' answers would be. Dalvin Cook is obviously number 1 running back on the year. He has the toughest matchup he's going to have all year, and the one matchup where I don't feel confident in him, and that's Chicago. You have Mark Ingram against the Browns. Mark Ingram has looked good. It's been his backfield. The Browns have been okay against the run. And then Josh Jacobs, the guy that I've been just pounding his drum for because of this matchup, because of the usage that he's looking to be promised. Which one do you guys go with? I'll let you guys all talk first again. We'll go top to bottom in our Discord chat. AJ, go ahead.
All right. So sorry, I was looking at something here. Who are we on again right now?
Okay, we're gonna go to Tony.
So I'm doing too much at once. I got a lot of people that want my advice.
Man. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Josh Jacobs just because of the matchup. The reason I don't like Dalvin Cook this week is just it's gonna be an ugly game, and I just don't want to be a part of that game. Mark Ingram is a pretty good high touchdown guy, but I think Josh Jacobs just has so much potential this week.
Breaking news: JJ Nelson is out, so my Tyrell Williams point just got a little bit better.
Yeah, I think you might want to go with Tyrell Williams then.
Kramer.
All right, so I would probably rank them Jacobs, Ingram, Cook. Cook is still a beast. I think he'll still get his, but I mean, it might just be 1 or 2 big runs and hopefully a touchdown. You're kind of just banking on getting a touchdown. I mean, if you have Dalvin Cook, there's no way you're not starting him. So
Yeah,
obviously start him. I think you should be starting all 3 of these guys. Mark Ingram against Cleveland, could totally be another 2 touchdown game with just 70, 80 yards on the ground. Cleveland has a pretty good run defense, but I do think Baltimore will be taking the lead and holding a lead for most of this game. So I do think they will be running it pretty heavily. I guess it just matters if Lamar Jackson's going to steal it for himself, that greedy bastard. And we've talked about Josh Jacobs quite a bit, so I'll keep that one short. But I agree he's going to have a really good game. So I'd probably put him at number 1, Mark Ingram number 2, and Dalvin Cook number 3.
Yeah. AJ is typing in the chat.
Sorry, I had to write down the guys because we went off script here, so I wasn't prepared.
We did.
So,
I thought it said Mark
It's
Ingram.
on the
Oh,
script.
okay, sorry. You could have just said topic 2. So here we go. I think that Dalvin Cook, his matchup is gross, right? I mean, it's going up against a super tough Bears defense, but as far as skill goes, he is like by far out of Ingram and Jacobs, like the most skilled player out of this lineup here. So I would still rank Cook first. Like if I had to, I would definitely take Cook first, and then I would go Ingram, and then I would go Jacobs. I know that Jacobs has all these defensive players out on his side, and now JJ Nelson is out as well. So volume definitely looks good in his favor. I just think Ingram has a stronger touchdown upside against the Browns defense, which I am not scared of, and on a pretty high motor offense in Baltimore. Yeah.
We have before
Your lunch boxes.
I'll give my answer really quick. But we do have another start sit question as soon as I give mine. My answer is dependent, and because this game's later in the afternoon, one of the defensive tackles for Chicago is probable
Akeem Hicks.
Akeem Hicks. If Akeem Hicks does not play, I feel confident saying Dalvin Cook would be number 2 on this list, and Mark Ingram number 3. If he does play, I'm going to move Dalvin Cook to number 3. Either way, Josh Jacobs is number 1. I am the Josh Jacobs fanboy. I will buy a signed jersey of him if he wins me $2,000 in DFS. We've talked about him at length. I'm not super confident with Mark Ingram and his touchdown dependency, and then Dalvin Cook. It really just, I mean, having the Akeem Hicks there makes a huge difference for that D line.
Yo, he's out.
Oh, he's out.
Exit
It is
said he's
official.
out.
All right, Dalvin Cook number 2 for me. We have Demarcus Robinson or Philip Lindsay in standard scoring. Demarcus Robinson, not even close for me.
Yeah.
Philip Lindsay had that big game, but that's because Green Bay's rush defense is trash, literally garbage. Like, they couldn't stop AJ as a running back. Demarcus Robinson,
You don't know my rep.
Demarcus Robinson's the number 2 wide receiver on the team without Tyreek Hill, playing against a defense without Darius Slay. So he may get 100 yards and 2 TDs. I mean, his floor is probably gain you 7 points, which may outscore Lindsay anyway. But his ceiling is 40-point game. There's no way I don't play Demarcus Robinson in standard this week.
Yeah, I think the upside on Robinson's too high to pivot off him to Lindsay. Lindsay's hasn't shown the big game yet this year, so it's a little bit harder to. I mean, I guess he had a decent game, but yeah, Demarcus Robinson. I just having premonitions of seeing him 40 yards out in the end zone, dancing, no one within 7 yards of him.
Well,
So I'm going to Demarcus Robinson.
it'll be that, but then I can't tell if that was Mecole Hardman or Demarcus Robinson. I'm like, which guy?
Oh yeah, everyone looks the same. Why does everyone have these low numbers?
And Tony, AJ, you guys agree? Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a question from AJ. Don't know who that is. Who would you rather stash on the bench this week, Preston Williams or Paris Campbell? Preston Williams, yeah.
Yeah, go Preston Williams. Paris Campbell is interesting. But I think T.Y. Hilton's going to be coming back. He's not going to be in this week, but he's going to be coming back sooner, unless his hamstring injury keeps lingering. There's like 3
It's a
young
quad, I think.
guys, or yeah,
Regardless.
yeah, whatever, other side of the leg. But there's like 3 young wide receivers in that, aren't there? Let me try
Yeah,
to.
it's
Chester
Zach
Rogers,
Pascal,
Zach
Chester,
Pascal.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
we said
So,
everybody at the different
I think
times.
Paris Campbell was kind of the guy that they're thinking is going to be taking over that T.Y. Hilton role once Hilton's gone. But for right now, I think it could be any one of those 3. And Preston Williams at least has been out there all the time and getting targets. So
yeah. If it's a keeper or dynasty, definitely Preston Williams, in my opinion, because I think Preston Williams, once this team turns around, maybe in a year or 2, he could be a wide receiver 1.
tank for Tua.
Really excited for him. Anyway, going back to where we were talking about, who's going to have the better week? We have our first forfeit this week, and it's because I want to throw in a guy with the big 3 of Keenan Allen, Julio, Hopkins. I want to throw in Lockett in there, see if anybody's tempted by that matchup against Arizona. I'll go first. Another guy I've been banging the drum for, it's Keenan Allen. 30 receptions, 35 targets, 350 yards, and 4 TDs. Easily within the realm of possibility.
My brother would be very happy this week if that was the case.
We will get to any Twitch questions in a second after we all go. Quickly, we'll just go through it. Who do you have out of these 4 and why? You don't need to talk about the other 3. AJ, go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sure. For me, it's Julio Jones. I think Julio at home, like I've been saying, is kind of it's weird because Julio's exploded the last 2 weeks, but he just like for whatever reason just not like a sexy play or a sexy pick. I guess I don't know. You just kind of the most boring like 25-point lock like you can have, and I think that his matchup is going to be very much in his favor. And I'm expecting Matt Ryan to have another great game. Like he's been playing really well this season, and I don't see any reason why at home against the Titans is going to change that.
He's been playing well. Kramer, go ahead.
I'd probably throw Julio number one with that matchup against Malcolm Butler. I think he's probably going to be their main way their offense moves this week. I could see him getting 180 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett, I think, is going to be super good too. I thought it was interesting you put him up here with these people, but I could totally see him being just about in that same level. I might actually put Keenan Allen third on this list. And then Hopkins probably number two. I'd still probably put Lockett behind these guys, but there is a possibility that Lockett gets those couple 40-yard receptions, couple long TDs, and has himself a super solid week. I mean, I think obviously if you're choosing between these four guys, that would be like a dreamland.
Yeah.
Just throw them all out there and just watch and stroke it.
Yeah. This is made more for just our predictions. It's less
Yeah.
about who to play. But with that said, Tony, who you
Yeah,
got?
I mean, I think Allen definitely has the best week, but I really like Lockett. I think he's going to have an amazing week. It makes sense that he's up here with these guys. I also like Hopkins in the sense of I think he has a bounce back week and gets back to where he earns his first round draft spot.
Carolina's defense has been okay against the pass, but Hopkins is Hopkins, and I think he is one of those DFS plays where if you have leftover money, nobody's playing Hopkins because why would
Yeah.
you play him instead of Keenan Allen or Julio? So
Yeah, Bradbury. Is it what's the guy's name? Something Bradbury. Is it Nigel Bradbury?
It's not Ray.
Anyways, but he's been good.
So some start sit questions. We got Mac or Carson. I think we all go Marlon Mack here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I like Mac.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then Deion Kane, Hawkinson, or Anthony Miller. I'm gonna throw up in my mouth. I'm sure this is our dynasty league, Hunter.
TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, I think you got to go Hawkinson just because of the matchup.
Hawkinson.
You guys aren't.
And I don't like
I don't
it.
know. I'm thinking.
Deion Kane? Are you thinking about Deion Kane having a
I
big
don't,
game?
I don't
I
know.
think.
I can't trust that. Like I said, I looked at the targets. It was so spread out. Like
Coming
You're
out
hoping-
party for Anthony Miller and Hunter.
Oh god.
Oh God, no. Yeah, have fun against Mackenzie Alexander and Mike Hughes. By the way, Mike Hughes is healthy, so our like 8th first round corner basically is on the team.
Yeah, I'd probably go. I mean, Hawkinson's got the matchup against Kansas City, so they're gonna have to throw all game. Kansas City doesn't have very good linebackers. They haven't been defending tight ends very well, I don't think. And Hawkinson has shown he can be involved. I think this feels kind of like a Marvin Jones game again, more so. But I think all three your start. Well, I guess all four your skill player positions are going to be pretty good there with Kenny Galladay.
I just want the Lions to come out and publicly say like how many like milligrams of OxyContin they have Matt Stafford on, just so we know how good he's feeling, and then that can we can project our confidence from there. I just need to know how doped up this guy is
That's
going to be.
true.
They just need to do whatever they did to Aaron Rodgers last week in Week 1 when he came back against Chicago. Because that
So
that
what
shit
is his
worked.
problem?
his foot.
His foot.
His foot? Wow.
Who's
Is his
Stafford?
plant foot or his
Yeah.
back foot though?
I thought it was his hip.
Oh,
I thought it was
maybe.
his foot, right?
All right,
His hip.
Stafford injury.
I thought
time.
it was his brain.
Oh, that's fucked up. His wife.
Yeah.
Let's see
Should
if
we
I
go
can-
on to the last?
Yeah, we'll go on to the last one. I just want to get this in what he's dealing with. Hip injury.
Okay.
You idiot,
What is
Tony.
his hip?
Made me look
Oops.
dumb.
I thought it was his foot. I don't know why.
Hip pointers.
Lastly, Will Disley, Mark Andrews, or Darren Waller. God, I think this is a good question. Man, I write good show docs.
Time.
I'm
Well,
gonna-
are you done stroking yourself, or can we like start to answer this question?
I'll go Will Disley. Then I'm gonna go Mark Andrews and Waller. I think Andrews and Waller are gonna be very close. I think Will Disley has an explosion of a week.
God damn, dude.
Dude, AJ hates Will Disley. It's
I
confirmed.
don't hate him, but like over Darren Waller with no
Yeah.
JJ Nelson and a banged up Colts defense, Darren Waller is leading. leading tight ends and targets.
In fantasy football, 1 touchdown is worth 60 yards. All right.
I don't know. I think this is the week that Waller gets a touchdown.
That changes my answer then. I don't think he gets a touchdown.
Oh man, dude, Darren Waller is gonna go ballistic today.
Josh Jacobs is going to score all the touchdowns this week. There's not enough room for Waller to work in my takes.
Waller, you could. I mean, I love your confidence in Will Disley, but I would go Waller, Andrews, then Disley.
All right, Kramer. Kramer, we lost Kramer again. Tony, go ahead.
Yeah,
I mean,
think,
Disley's not even. I'm sorry, Disley's not even the number 2 option on his team like these other guys are, dude. Like, what the
What is
hell?
this trash? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Fuck.
What do you mean
Goddamn,
Disley
he
isn't
scored
the
two.
number 2 option? You're saying, or Kramer, would you say Russell Wilson looked towards DK Metcalf or Will Disley more last game?
Red zone, definitely Disley. But on the field, it was actually pretty close, I would say. Probably like maybe a target or 2 towards DK, but DK's been the field stretcher right now. So I'd say DK is going to get a good game too, but Disley is going to get probably, I mean, he has to get at least a touchdown.
Will
It's
Disley,
19 to 14 targets.
but last week Will Disley out targeted DK Metcalf.
Well,
It shifted.
That's the only week that
By
matters.
a game, by like a
Yes.
target.
Well, that was 1 target.
That's 1 target. It's still,
Still
I mean,
winning.
like, it's not. It doesn't automatically like make Disley the number 2 look.
All right.
I like Waller. I think, like I said, I think
I could
this
see
week,
Waller though, yeah, too.
and he's just gonna get so many. He's gonna get a lot of targets this week too.
Can I get odds now for Will Disley since you guys obviously think Andrews and Waller are having better weeks?
I do.
Can I get a plus like 150 on this?
Now
140?
you get minus just to play in Arizona.
Fuck. Exactly. That's why I had to give AJ minus. All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, like, yeah, the matchup is good, but like, that game could get out of hand, and Russ could stop throwing the ball. So.
All right. So that's going to conclude this week. Thank you guys for watching. Again, every single week it seems like we're getting more interactions, more people viewing. We appreciate and love the support. Every week, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. The more questions you ask, the longer we'll stay, but it seems like we answered everybody's questions. So again, thank you for watching. Head over to our YouTube channel, High Motor Fantasy, if you guys want even more fantasy football content. And see you next week.
Later.
Peace.